the past 3 weeks, the political leaders have been telling you why they should run this country. But we're turning the tables. Over the next 2 weeks, we want to hear from you and know what you would do if you were Prime Minister. We've asked some famous Canadians to start us off. First up, John Montgomery, the Russell, Manitoba-born skeleton racer, was golden at the Vancouver Olympics. Montgomery is a force to be reckoned with on the track. But what about in Ottawa? What would he do if he were Prime Minister?
If I was Prime Minister, I would address the issues of health and wellness facing all Canadians today. I'm an athlete, after all. What did you think I was going to talk about? Equalization payments? I don't think so. What I do know, though, is that if Canadians who are living below the poverty line, who don't have access to facilities and programs to work on a healthy lifestyle and keep fit, continue to get left on the sidelines, they're going to continue to be a larger and larger burden on the Canadian taxpayers. And it's tied directly to easing the burden on our health care. It's tied directly to easing the burden on our criminal justice system. And as a country, we witnessed firsthand last year in Vancouver and Whistler at the Olympic Games the power of sport and how it can affect this country if we help it and if we let it. We need to find ways to make it easier for organizations to raise money and receive funding for what I consider to be a fundamental right of young Canadians to be able to experience the power of sport and physical fitness in their lives. And that's what I would do if I were Prime Minister John Montgomery.
Tonight, it's Bret Hart of Calgary's famous Hart wrestling family. He's one of the all-time stars of professional wrestling, and now he's wrestling with the issue of benefits for Canadian war vets.
The first thing that I would do if I was Prime Minister is I would make some serious revisions to the pension plan for our veterans, especially the ones that are injured. The people that come to mind are heroes like Major Mark Campbell, who lost both legs in Afghanistan, struggling today with a $250,000 settlement. When in World War II, Canadian veterans that sacrificed and lost limbs were paid a lifetime pension. And I would make sure that from this point on, Canadian veterans got all the attention and the health care that they need to make sure that their lives are as comfortable as possible. I think it's time to take a serious look at the new Veterans Charter and make sure that the Canadian soldiers are looked after the way they deserve. And that's the first thing I would do if I was Prime Minister Bret Hart.
Nowadays, she's dedicated to all things mom. But Erica M. is best known as much music's first female VJ. From rock and roll to rocking the vote. She's interviewed a Prime Minister about what would she do if she were Prime Minister.
If I were to be elected Prime Minister, I would insist on more transparency and accountability. So many Canadians are understandably cynical about our current system because politicians are allowed to make promises that they don't actually keep after the election. No wonder voter turnout dropped down below 60% for the first time ever in the last election. That's why I would step down if I couldn't deliver on any of the promises that I make. And that's a promise. Canadians need to feel more engaged in politics and actually believe that their voices matter and that they're being heard. That's why I would allow more open votes in Parliament and no more of this towing the party line. Besides, no matter what party you support, you cannot possibly agree with every single thing in their platform. And this would allow MPs to vote the way their constituents want them to vote. And that's what I would do if I were to be elected Prime Minister Erica M.